Let's just get into it. But if you like this video, like and subscribe. So it would appear that the rebel HTS forces have managed to blitzkrieg through like the Assad territory after the fall of Hama, and now they are at the gates of Homs. Uh, it would appear that they are trying to maybe like encircle it because it would appear that they are following the roads, which would be a natural defensive positions for the defender. The Russians are continuing their bombardment campaign on HTS positions, but also on the M5 highway, probably trying to make the logistics as bad as possible for the HTS forces. It would also appear that the Assad regime is trying to do their best to keep Homs, because if Homs falls, it's game over. The HTS forces can just cut the Assad regime's territory in half, and there would be no feasible way for the Russians to supply the Assad regime on this side of Syria with new weapons or reinforcements or basically any support. Because the land route would be cut. The only way would be through air support, but Russian Air Force is busy in Ukraine. They can't really do much. The HTS forces are also continuing their expansion into the desert. You don't need much forces to go through here, so it's natural. We heard some reports from ISIS. They claim to have taken a bit more territory. The Kurds have used this as an excuse to basically take over some parts of the Assad regime's territory. Uh, it seems that they are using the some ISIS advances as like the justification to take this territory. Also, some HTS allied forces have taken some control over the southern Syria. They have stormed some army bases and took some of their weapons. Also, what's bad about this is that this is right next to Damascus, meaning that Damascus has to send some forces to counter this insurgency operation down here, which they cannot spare because they need all the forces that they can get to protect this area. The Hezbollah is starting to send some troops into Syria, but the Israel is continuing their bombing campaigns over the southern Syria and northern Lebanon to prevent them from doing this. Also, the Lebanese army is patrolling these areas to not allow Hezbollah to send too many troops. Hezbollah is continuing to smuggle them through, but it's in much more limited numbers than if they were free to go and do as they please. But what we are not seeing is the mass entrance of the Iraqi proxies of Iran. We heard some of them entered from like the beginning of the war, but it would appear that they aren't doing much. But to be fair, there's not much that they can do. They need to go to Homs because if Homs falls, then their entire logistics line to supply Hezbollah are gonna go with it. Uh, so yeah, the Russians are also continuing their bombardment campaign on HTS towns and villages and the concentration of their forces, but that's nothing new. Um, and the coalition forces are helping the Kurds to take over this territory, which is not a surprise because the US is justifying its remaining troops being in Syria because they don't want ISIS expanding their control. And now that ISIS has expanded some control, it would be only natural for US to start bombarding their areas and helping Kurds to take over these areas that are controlled by ISIS and the Assad forces. Um, what could possibly happen next is I would think that the Assad regime is gonna put everything into defense of Homs. It's just not feasible for them to survive if they lose it. They could put all of their forces in like this area, part of the coast, and try to defend that way, and then wait for the Russians to come. But that would mean that they are waiting for the Ukraine war to end, and I don't know if it will. but I believe that that's their best bet. But also, what would be the morale if they lost all of this territory? It would crumble, and even more forces would join the HTS. Because HTS is not just one organization, it is the combination of multiple organizations under one banner against Assad. Also, we are not seeing much between the HTS forces, aka rebel forces, and the Kurds. They don't seem to fight that much, but I guess the Assad regime is the priority of the HTS forces. If they can knock him out, then fighting against Kurds is not going to be that much more of a struggle because Turkey is just going to supply them with much more weapons because Turkey hates the Kurds because they have some sort of Kurdish insurgency in their territory. And that would be all. Bye. And also, if you like this video, like, and if you want to see more, subscribe. Okay, so bye.